Hey folks, you're watching Web 2.0.tv. I'm Kimberly Dykman. We are at South by Southwest Interactive. More great interviews with some big brains in the business. And, oh yeah, here's another one. Eric Simone of Clearblade. Thanks for taking the time. We're amongst crowds, so we're going to have to shout because you got lots of good stuff to share. So tell us about your company.
Sure, Kimberly.
It's got a cool name.
Yeah, it's name of the company's Clearblade.
Yeah.
And we're focused on enterprise modernization.
Okay.
So, really what that is working with large companies that have large data stores of old code and enabling it to work in this new Web 2.0 world.
Which I'm sure you've got plenty of folks out there that need your help.
Yes.
So how did you find that niche to fall into, to be able to jump on it and actually be profitable?
Well, I've worked with large organizations for many years. I worked for IBM in the past. I've done a technology startup in the past that focused in this area. And the need is even more there today than it was 10, 15 years ago because of the pace of technology.
Yeah.
And how fast this web world has grown, Web 2.0, Ajax, SOA, all these new architectures and technologies are enabling companies to do more and more. But what's happening is it's outstripping their capability to do what they've done over the years.
From the 70s into the 80s and all that information that they actually still need to use, and their customers need to be able to tap into it.
There's hundreds of billions of lines of code, COBOL, RPG, out there running in the world today. These are core business systems that just can't be thrown away and rewritten. It's too expensive.
Right.
So companies need to find ways to interact with these older systems.
Right.
And there's typically a skills gap there. You've got the people that have been in the business 30, 40 years that, hey, look, they know CICS, COBOL, mainframe DB2 transactions. And then you've got other groups that are doing Web 2.0 development and Ajax, et cetera.
Years ahead of them.
And it's tough to get those two to communicate.
Right.
So what we do is we work very closely with IBM. I mean, IBM's the infrastructure for all this.
Okay.
And we work with IBM's tooling to get them from point A to point B. Let's take your COBOL insurance system and let's move it into IBM's rational enterprise generation language, which has all the components to connect it with Java, JSF, SOA, all of these new technologies. So then you can have your new folks working with your existing folks.
Right.
And it's it's easier said than done. It's a lot of work.
Well, it sounds like you're stepping into the gap that is growing larger and larger and larger by the minute. We're talking about Web 2.0, Web 3.0, and all the new developments. Yeah. But you have to have that conversation with the new and the old, bridge the gap so that conversation can continue, and then actually implement and seamlessly put things together.
Exactly.
What's funny is that, I guess for the average Joe to really get their arms around this, it's like HD and great plasma televisions and all that jazz, and people that are still watching analog and don't have cable, and they think, well, how do I jump from here to there? I mean, how will I even understand what to do? I'm safe with my old stuff. So how do you talk to those companies that say, gosh, it seems like such an undertaking? How do you soft serve it so they see that this is the only way, that this is the biggest step, but this is the step we have to take?
Well, a lot of it is the CIOs out there, they're smart. They know that this is a problem. Yeah. So I'm not coming in, and IBM's not coming in and saying, you have a problem. They know they have a problem. So it's what technology do I choose, and who do I bet on to solve that problem?
Gotcha.
And part of our strategy as well, you bet on IBM, I'm going to bet on that one horse. There's other great technologies out there. If you want to bet on Microsoft, go do that, and I'm sure you can get that done as well. The hard thing is to focus, right? Pick the right tools, because there are hundreds of tools out there, and your head is spinning around to figure out what technologies do I need. Well, what we do is work with IBM and say, let's give you a roadmap. Here are all the different ways that you can integrate this technology. Let's build a roadmap to figure out what's best for your business, because every business is different. They want to start in different areas, they have different technologies. But the key is to be able to leverage the existing skill that you have on staff.
True. So then it does come to the people to maintain it, essentially.
Yeah, exactly. Because you've got people out there that they have not made that transition to Java. They understand procedural coding. They understand high volume transactions. And this is core to their business. But they're not either going to take the time, nor do they have the time to go and learn, core Java development, nor necessarily do they need to.
Right.
If I'm if I'm a TV manufacturer and I build TVs, my job isn't to build technology infrastructures. My job is to worry about the quality of those TVs.
Right.
So let me bring in other experts to help me do that, and that's really what we focus on.
So, what do you see as going to be the next challenge to face? Like once it's sort of you can seam in or to seamlessly connect these two, what do you think is the next curveball that you're going to have to deal with?
Well, I think a lot of it, that's a really good question, because a lot of it is transitioning that skill, because you've got a lot of these people that are in charge of these systems that are of retirement age right now. They're leaving the workforce.
That's a good point.
They're leaving the workforce, and what's coming into the workforce, they don't know these technologies. No one's coming out of school today with COBOL background.
Right.
Or RPG background.
Right.
They're not learning these things.
So it's almost the opposite issue. Instead of having to know the new stuff, they know the new stuff, they don't know the old stuff that's already in place that you just seam together.
Right. So you need to be able to put the technology in place to have the newer developers who understand web development and understand Java, etc., and get them into that world of understanding CICS and high volume transactions and how that mixes with the technology today.
Right.
And then as these people progress through their careers and they figure out, okay, I want to use these legacy systems, or I want to put some of them out to pasture and rewrite, you just have to do that in a more just a strategic way, as opposed to just say, hey, let's do all new, because you just can't do that.
So is that something that is that a path that you would look down within your company to say, well, the next part is we're actually going to have consultants to step in place?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Which is not a bad revenue stream.
Yeah, no, it's definitely
right?
what we do. I mean, we're very focused on finding the right talent to bear on whatever the project is, and it's really training that business, whether it's like a State Farm or whoever, any large company, training them to really get their people to understand what they have. Another part of this is just a lot of companies don't know what they have in terms of assets. So you've got all this code, this monolithic code that's been built up over decades. Most people don't know what's running, how it's running,
right.
and what they can get rid of, because they're afraid. It's like a house of cards. If I get rid of this over here, I don't know if anything's using it, but I'm not going to touch it because
I'm just going to leave it there for now.
It works fine. So there's a number of tools within IBM's suite of rational products that do what they call asset management, asset
cleaning house.
Oh yeah, just what do I have? Asset analyzation. So a lot of this really is working within what IBM already has in play,
right.
and helping bridge that gap between, hey, look, going and selling a technology solution to going and selling a business solution.
Right.
And that's really kind of, we're the in-between between IBM and some of the customers on how to build that business solution.
It's not a bad place to be in.
No, it's, I love the old school. I love new school. I mean, I can get up there and do a Web 2.0 demo with the best of them, but a lot of it is showing some of the old school. Here's a green screen application with a PF key. It's not the most exciting thing to show, but it really resonates with those people that have been maintaining the systems for 20, 30 years.
Right. Wow. Well, are you going to keep going with this? You're going to sell this one off as well? Go back into fashion, as you said? Or you think you're going to stick with this for... I'm
going to stick with this one for at least 3 to 5 years. Yeah. I mean, that's kind of a good window. And then we'll see where it takes me next.
Okay.
But
there's probably some people paying attention going, 5 years, I'm going to call him, I want to acquire his business.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Well, if you want to buy women's clothes, there's always Girl Next Door, too.
We'll get a girl's next door. He's got, you're working both sides.
I'll tell you what, it is a tough transition on a daily basis. If I'm on a call about women's fashion and then I have to switch into IBM technology mode, when I get mixed up, it's never pretty. You start talking about women's underwear in the middle of an IBM conference call, doesn't go over too well.
I don't think so. You said it makes me look fat? What are you talking
about?
No,
yeah, exactly.
They have a business in the fashion industry as well, so he's clicking on all engines right now. So. Well, thank you so much for taking
Kimberly.
the time. I really
nice to
appreciate
meet you.
it.
Really appreciate
you took this huge concept, distilled it down, so actually anyone who falls upon Web2.0.tv will kind of get their arms around it. So well done. Enjoy the rest of South by Southwest.
Appreciate it.
And have some good parties.
Thanks. I will.
You'll be fashionably wonderful in there.
Thanks.
You are watching Web2.0.tv. I'm Kimberly Dykeman, and we'll have a few more coming up.